In our last episode, we fully explored Metro Central, the largest metro station in all of DC. There we found a number of underground connections to many of the other tubes and tunnels and stations we've explored already, and we found one connection to a station that we have not yet explored. Museum Station. Museum Station is in the mall. But instead of tackling Museum Station and then the mall, we decided to head back to Pennsylvania Avenue and move south to explore Seward Square, and from there to move on towards the mall. As we emerge from the Seward Square North Metro Station, we see the body of the mutant we killed when we came out here the first time in my video on Pennsylvania Avenue. We can loot it before moving on. Turning around to the north, we see this road completely blocked up, but turning east, we see an alley. Moving towards the alley, we round a corner past some garbage cans to find dead mutants. And this begins to look familiar. These mutants are dead because we've been here before. At the end of the alley, we find a manhole to sewer. This manhole leads to the sewer that we fully explored in my second video on Pennsylvania Avenue. Heading down, sure enough, we arrive on the train tracks, and there we find the crucified skeleton we remember from my second video on Pennsylvania Avenue. All right, now that connection is made. Both entrances to Seward Square from Penn Avenue are right next to each other, but we still have so much of Seward Square left to explore. Heading out of the alley, we arrive back on the street, and we see towering ruins off to the southwest. Above the metro station is a sky bridge, and it looks like there's a door up there. I wonder if we can get up there. We see that the cross street here is Independence Avenue, and moving southeast, we see that this goes for quite some ways. But then we see some centaurs. Oh, it's a whole bunch of centaurs and mutants, and they're coming right for me. We can back up and make some room. The VATS animation showed me that I was still in my vault utility jumpsuit, so putting our armor back on, we can grab the .44 Magnum and try to take out these centaurs. Oh, those centaurs are nasty, but thankfully they're also slow. After looting the bodies, it looks like we can go in two directions. We could go southeast, towards where the centaurs came from, or we can move west under this sky bridge. Looks like there's a big open space over there. Well, we'll move west for now. Heading that way and passing under the sky bridge, we don't see any way to get up to this sky bridge from here, but looking northwest, we see the silhouette of the Capitol building, and off in the distance, we see movement. Mutants. Well, I don't know how many mutants are over there, and the last thing I want to do is lure a train of them my way. Instead, we can move into this big open space and explore it clockwise. We see that the southern and western perimeter of this big open space is ringed with broken concrete, ruined buildings, giant piles of rubble. We move all the way around until we arrive at the northern end of this section, and here we find a staircase that leads up to the ruins of the Capitol building. We don't find any doors that lead us inside this wing. We just see broken walls, blasted out windows, and piles of rubble. However, we can climb over this rubble to find a little bit of a walkway that leads to a lip skirting the edge of the Capitol building. Following the lip, we see that it turns left into a big gap. Looks like there's seating and tables down there and a Pulowski preservation shelter. It has a great view of this large ruined area off to the northeast. We see the super mutants over there by some sandbag barricades. They're still a bit too far away to attack. Continuing west, we reach the western wall, and we see that this lip gets wider. But then going north, the lip turns east, and again brings us to the exterior overlooking this large area. We are now close enough to the mutants where I thought I could get some sneak criticals off. We get a few good shots off, and we kill one. And this got me my level 10. Well, putting points into medicine last time brought me to where I think I need to be to make good use of Radaway. I could put some into repair, which I know I need to do, but I figured, for now, I'd dump the rest into small guns. I brought it all the way up to 95. I don't want to waste any points, and I'll probably get a few more Guns and Bullets magazines as I play along. And then I figured I'd give my sneak some love. I brought it up to 32. Now, I'm abandoning the guide that I was using, so looking through the list of perks available to me at this level, I settled upon Finesse. It improves my chance to score a critical hit, equivalent to having 5 extra points of luck. Pretty decent perk. After leveling up, I went back to sniping off these mutants, only to discover that they were engaged in a firefight. Creeping closer, we see that they're fighting Talon Company. And Talon Company wiped the floor with them. A few of the mercs are wounded, but I don't think any of them got killed. As we continue north, the lip ends, and we now appear on the topmost step of the Capitol building. Sure enough, we arrive at the door to the east entrance of the Capitol building, overlooking the plaza below that is now swarming with Talon Company. Now, I already covered the Capitol building in a previous video. In that video, we explored the entire thing and uncovered all of its lore. So, if interested, you can check out that video here. Heading inside for a quick tour, we walk to the northeastern section to find a door to the Presidential Metro. The Presidential Metro is only available to us as we undertake the Broken Steel DLC. It's a fascinating metro system, but I covered it all in my series on Broken Steel. That means there's nothing much for us left in the Capitol building, so we can head back outside. But as we head out, we find a super mutant by a sandbag barricade. Our revolver makes quick work of him. Moving forward, we can quickly loot the body, then peering deeper into the building. Yeah, this place is swarming with mutants, but as we've already explored it, we'll head back outside to Seward Square. Moving outside, the Talon Company mercs almost spot us, but hiding behind this pillar, we can wait for them to move on. Once they do, we can continue north, every now and again hazarding a glance back towards Talon Company, and it's then we see that there are not only a lot of them, but they also have a robo-brain. Yikes. I didn't want to attack them from here because with these steps so easily accessible, they could just race up and get me. So leaving them for now, we can continue north only to hit a dead end. Oddly enough, this lip around the exterior of the Capitol building has a big piece of concrete blocking our path forward. Peering down, we see that a ruin has crumbled in a very interesting and distinct way. The building itself is mostly gone, but it's formed a bit of a concrete wall, reminiscent of Stonehenge, that we can't get past. Okay, so we can't go any further north. And yet I didn't want to attack Talon Company here. What I really want is a place that has good height advantage, but it's going to keep Talon Company far enough away for me to snipe them off without them getting close. My mind kept going back to that sky bridge. It looked like the perfect place. I wanted to see if I could find a way to get there. And so, retracing our steps, we can use the lip to move all the way to the other side of the Capitol building and then hop down on top of this Pulowski Preservation Shelter to explore this little nook before moving on. Inside the shelter is a suitcase with pre-war money lying all around it and a copy of Lying Congressional Style sitting right on top of it. Looks like Bethesda devs were pretty cynical about pre-war American politics. I then popped open the local map to see if I could find a way to even get onto the sky bridge. Taking a look at the local map, we find the door to the Capitol building, which we just explored, the Penn Ave / Seward Square Metro, which we used to enter Seward Square, and then directly beneath this is a door to an office building. Oh, that was so close by, but somehow I missed it. So closing the Pip-Boy and crouching down, we can ever so cautiously move across this large open area towards the sky bridge. Peering up with a scope, on the opposite end we see another door with another blinking light. Surely there's got to be a way up there. Perhaps that door to the office building is it. So moving underneath the sky bridge, we can move south towards that area that the centaurs came from. As we round the corner of this ruined building into the large area, we see a door behind a pillar and a streetlight. This must be the door leading into the office building. Heading inside. Oh, great. Crouching down, we can move forward and loot the body. We appear at the bottom of a staircase. The hallway to the west is blocked in. There's nothing in the nook to the south, so moving north, we can scale the stairs. We arrive on the first floor of this ruined building. No enemies in sight, though. Still, being cautious, we can move north. We find a doorway to a hallway, but the hallway is blocked in with rubble on both sides. It doesn't lead us anywhere. So moving south around the staircase we used to climb up, we find a desk here, an office cubicle, but nothing inside. In the other cubicle, we find a skeleton draped over a chair. Oh, crap. Looks like I'm gonna wait here for him to pop on out. Oh, but he's taking his good sweet time. Hey, are you there? No. Oh, yep, he's there. Wait for it. And now. Well, when the shotgun actually lands its hits in VATS, it does great. For some reason, I'm having a hard time landing hits in VATS with a shotgun. After looting the body, we can turn back around to finish exploring this office room. There doesn't appear to be anything significant about the skeleton, and none of the containers have any interesting loot. So through the hole in the wall, we see that the second floor of this building has crumbled into the room below, providing a bit of a rubble ramp. In the southwestern corner, we find a number of ruined desks and shelves, but no loot of any significance. So using the rubble ramp, we can climb to this third floor. At the top, we see a door behind us in the northern wall and a desk to the south with a terminal on top labeled Workstation. DC Metro Office of Urban Planning Human Resources Management System. You are logged in as Emily Wise. Please make your selection. We could submit a timesheet. Time since last report, 72,982 days. Hours worked since last report, 0 hours. Our records indicate that you currently have an inadequate ratio of time worked to time passed. Your current workload balance, minus your last reported paid time off, indicates that you will be required to work an additional 417,040 extra hours in order to equalize your ratio. Please schedule a meeting with your immediate supervisor and submit Form HR-2847-A with a written plan to make up for the lost time. Thank you, and have a productive day. You know, reading stuff like this sometimes makes me glad the bombs dropped. Good grief. Poor Emily. Backing out, we can next read Request Tax Information. The National Tax Record Tracking System, the NTRTS, is currently experiencing downtime due to maintenance. Should you require immediate assistance with your tax-related issue, please contact the Office of Human Resources representative assigned to your group. Gotta make sure those employees are clocking in on time, putting in their productive work. Gotta make sure they're paying their taxes to Uncle Sam. We can try to review personal information. Searching. Error. Thank you. Uh-oh, we've got a gremlin in the machine here. At least it didn't affect the tax-related documentation. And the next one, contact technical support. We at Protectron, a division of the Skex Corporation, a wholly owned subsidiary of Diamond Incorporated, appreciate your concern and applaud your desire to help us improve our products. Currently, we're detecting no outstanding issues with your system and assure you that any problem or complaint you are currently experiencing is simply a misperception on the part of the user. Please refer to the Integrated Human Resources Management System documentation, Section 465.34a, Section 756, Paragraph 75, for more information on this message. Thank you. Wow. Not even the end of the world, a nuclear apocalypse, can make this company admit that there's anything wrong with their software. Backing out, we can read about this system. Welcome to the Integrated Human Resources Management System version 2.3, a joint product of the District of Columbia Office of Software Management and the United States Office of Computational Organization. Developed through contracts with Protectron, a division of the Skex Corporation, a wholly owned subsidiary of Diamond Incorporated. Copyright 2256, all rights reserved? Really? Diamond Incorporated was copyrighted 179 years after the apocalypse? I don't think so. But I'm sure this is just another user misperception. Huh. Pre-war America. Well, after being thoroughly disgusted by this terminal, we can turn north. We see a plank walkway leading to the door. We can first loot the containers on this upper floor. We don't find much until we skirt around these holes in the floor and reach the northeastern corner. Here we find a shelf covered in stim packs. 5 stim packs on the bottom of this shelf, and a couple of mostly empty boxes. When ready, we can head towards the door and open it to Seward Square. Ah! Aha! There you go! Jeez. Well, where was that guy when I was looking at this sky bridge from outside? He must have been programmed to spawn in just as we walk in. But sure enough, we arrive on the sky bridge overlooking the plaza below. But using our scope to peer to the northwest, we don't see any of the Talon Company. We can loot the body to get a bunch of great ammunition, another sniper rifle that we can use to repair the one we have, and of course another full suit of Talon combat armor. Moving north, we see a shelf, but next to it, we find a table with a switch and a holotape. Seward Square Artillery. Reading it in our Pip-Boy. Artillery Order number 562, Talon Company Support Team Alpha. Location, Seward Square. Take position on the skybridge near Seward Square and protect the squad's right flank. Bring plenty of ammo because you're going to be there a while. A small team has been dispatched to secure the Capitol building's south wing. We suspect minor resistance in that sector, but if need arises, we've locked in some artillery coordinates. Call in the strikes by using the switch we've provided for you. Oh, so that's what the switch is for. But after reading the note, we see commotion down below. Talon Company mercs appear and begin firing upon mutants on the steps of the Capitol building. But this appears to be a completely different group from the ones we found fighting mutants by the front door to the Capitol building. All right, well that definitely did something. It killed the Talon Company mercs on the ground there, but it didn't get everyone. Whoa, whoa, hey now. Oh, all right then. Figures. The mutants come down to the plaza after I push the button. Oh, wait a minute. I wonder what happens if I push it again. Oh, really? I could have just sat here spamming this button without wasting any ammo? Well, that's good to know. But can I do it again? And yes, I can. Well, note to self, don't waste ammo here. I wonder where this artillery is coming from. Well, despite this epic battle, I don't think those Talon Company mercs were the same ones we saw earlier. However, when we peer through our scope, we don't see those ones walking around off in the distance. We'll have to head down there again to make sure they're really dead. Before we go, we can loot this shelf. We find 2 first aid boxes with a bunch of stim packs inside and 2 ammo canisters at the bottom, one of which is locked with an average lock. Turning north, we see that the other door we saw from the ground below is boarded up, so we can't continue any further that way. If we could have, it would have given us a better view of the ground below where those Talon Company mercs were, but looks like we've got to retrace our steps and head down. One thing we haven't found yet is a bed. My character's pretty wounded. I'd rather not waste a stim pack. Also, it's the middle of the night, and I'd rather be doing this during the day. Well, heading back into the office building, navigating through the ruin and back out to Seward Square, we can retrace our steps back to the plaza just outside the Capitol building. Here we can loot the dead, including all of these Talon Company mercs, and by this time we have enough Talon combat armor to fully repair the suit we have up to our repair skill level. But then peering northeast, we see there's more mercs walking about. The artillery didn't kill the ones over there by those shining lights. So the sky bridge didn't give us an advantage over these at all. Well, looks like we gotta kill them the old-fashioned way. After looting the dead, we can again climb the steps to the Capitol building, skirt along this edge until we get a good shot. That's one. We can move closer to get a better view of any left in the small Talon Company camp. Sure enough, we find a few more. But this just isn't close enough. Getting even closer. And now for the Robo-Brain. For some reason, we lost karma by destroying that Robo-Brain. I've found other reports online of players experiencing the same thing, but with other types of robots. However, at this point, I don't know if it's a bug in the game, or if maybe it's a gremlin from one of the mods I have installed, like the unofficial Fallout 3 patch. For some reason, for me, it only happens with Robo-Brains, not other robots. But I digress. With the Capitol Plaza finally cleared, we can head down the stairs to loot the dead. And we walk away with just an absolute ton of gear, lots of Talon combat armor that we no longer need as we are fully repaired, assault rifles, miniguns, ammunition, stim packs, missile launchers, all sorts of good stuff. These Talon Company mercs didn't really have a camp over here. We see some pre-war lights, but they don't have any beds anywhere. They were just wandering around. Moving northwest, we find that barrier that we saw from the ledge above. There's a fence here, and even though it looks like the Capitol building continues on a ways, we can't go any further north. So we can turn around and finish exploring this plaza. We find a few more bodies of Talon Company mercs that we killed, but effectively this is a dead end. And so we can turn southeast towards the Sky Bridge, pass underneath it, and begin to explore the large square where the centaurs came from. We see that we are on the corner of 3rd and Independence. Looks like we could go east or we could go south. Let's go south for now and explore this square in a counterclockwise fashion. We pass by dead trees and large iconic statues. Turning around, we see a Cup of Joe's coffee shop right next to the ruined office building that we entered to access the Sky Bridge. We find a fusion flea amongst some rubble against the southern border of this square, and as we can't continue south, we can turn east. We arrive on the corner of 4th and Broadway. Moving south down 4th Street, we find it blocked up with more concrete rubble and ruined cars, so we can continue down Broadway. Just as we arrive outside a pre-war cinema,
the sun, it burns! Why does it burn? Why have we put the sun into a jar? What did we do with that jar? We broke it all over our little world.
What? Hello? Oh, wait a minute.
And the sun will rise in the north. No, the northwest. For 44 days and 67 nights, and we'll never notice.
I see a mutant over there on top of that truck.
Try new blammo! So blast the whole world. We've all been food.
Okay, well, mutant dead. Hopefully that's enough for the square. What's this noise? Who's this guy talking? What's going on here?
Oh, God, it hurts. My head. Why doesn't it ever stop hurting? Why? Please, I can hear it moving, pulsing. Just leave me alone. The sun, it burns.
Okay, and we've heard that one before. So it sounds like we've got some guy just sort of rambling into a speaker system. And he continues to shout at us and anyone who will listen the entire time we explore Seward Square.
In 1492, your mother and my mother were hanging up clothes around the mulberry bush.
I'll be sure to stop every time he says something new that we haven't already heard. But turning around, we can take a look at this cinema. This was the Broadway Cinema, and it looks like they were showing different movies than the ones we found at the other cinema that we discovered at Vernon Square. Now playing One Wife, Hold the Meatballs, Raz Bastion and the Amazons of Zarn, I Married a Maoist, Hush, Sweet Senator, Hush. Okay, a little bit to unpack here. From everything I was able to find, I Married a Maoist is a reference to the 1949 film The Woman on Pier 13, which was originally published as I Married a Communist before they changed its name after people disapproved of the original name. If any of the others are cultural references, I can't place them.
Hungry, so hungry. What? No, I'm not hungry. The worm is hungry. Hungry for me, for you, and for fire.
When done reading, we can loot the 2 Nuka-Cola machines just outside the cinema.
Try new blammo! Soap, blast, stains out, blast the whole world out. We've all been blammoed.
And then move southeast. We see an overpass towering above us. The road south, under the overpass, is blocked in with rubble and a car.
Fire, fire, burning bright, burning fire, pain, misery, peace, love, better, death, 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 death. No.
But we see that the road continues to the southeast. Looks like we could go there. But this road also goes north, and we'll head this way to finish exploring this square. After looting a couple of mailboxes and yet another Nuka-Cola machine, we arrive at the end of the road to find another split. The road continues to the north, but another one goes to the northeast.
A great crack shall open in the earth and swallow the non-believers, and they shall weep, 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 tears and salt and earth and dirt.
Heading northeast first, we actually find an alleyway here that goes south-southeast towards a playground. Okay. Heading back to the road, if we follow it north, we see that it ends in a huge rubble pile, but here we find some broken garden fences that we can leap over to see that this road connects to a series of buildings. And looking up, this is 7th Street. All right, well, another way to go. But turning around, we can finish exploring the square, heading back to 5th Street. We can take it to the end beneath this overpass, but it's blocked in with rubble. Can't go any further that way. So back to the square, we arrive at that truck, on top of which was the super mutant that we sniped off from afar.
Trees! So many trees! To the north! But be careful, the trees are deadly, and the trees too will be consumed in the belly of the great fat worm!
Okay. This isn't at all getting creepy. You about done, guy? Want some Med-X? Mentats? Might help. Heading into the back of the truck.
Beware, worm, I shall destroy you with the fire of the small sun before me. Beware, worm! One step further.
We find a first aid kit and an average locked floor safe. Inside the safe is a stack of nearly 70 bottle caps, pre-war money, and whiskey. Back out to the street, we see that dawn is beginning to break.
You don't know, you can't know, little fools. You wish you knew, you wish, but only I know. Only me, only me, only me.
With the perimeter of the square explored, we can move to the center of it. Here we see more evidence of the super mutant infestation. Giant iron girders wrapped in barbed wire, burning tires, piles of meat and flesh, skeletons hanging, body parts lying on the ground. Here we find the corpse of a wastelander with nothing much on the inventory. We can explore to the northwest, back towards the metro station where we came out of. Here we do find an alleyway going under this overpass, but it's just filled in with rubble and cars. We don't find anything interesting. Near to this, we find a ramp that goes on top of the truck, where we shot the mutant, and within which we found the safe. On top, we don't see much, but we do find the mutant's body lying on the ground next to it. We can hop down to loot the corpse. And that's it for the square.
Not one step further, not one. Come no closer. I'll do it. I'll blow us all to hell. All of us, me, you, and the worm.
Now we have to decide where we want to go. We could go northeast, towards either the alley or that road between those two buildings, or we could go southeast, down this large road. Well, we'll go here first. Heading down the road, we find a number of front gardens to these private homes, but there's nothing much there. Eventually, just outside a cornucopia fresh, we find a metro marker pointing south. But here, we find another road going north. This must have been the second road we found when we passed by the alleyway. And sure enough, heading down the road, we see the other end of the alley off to the left. The strange preaching seems to get louder as we near this alley, and then we see it. Standing in the broken upper floor of a building is the owner of this voice. He's using a megaphone or something to spout all of this nonsense around Seward Square. I tried to get in closer, but then I heard... Wait, what? Oh, what? What even was that? Hold on a minute. Let's play that again. Did we hear a mine make a sound? Yeah, we did, but it was really faint, as if it was far away. But how could we trip a mine that was far away? But then we remember it.
Beware, worm, I shall destroy you with the fire of the small sun before me. Beware, worm! One step further. Not one step further, not one. Come no closer. I'll do it. I'll blow us all to hell. All of us, me, you, and the worm.
The preacher warned us not to get too close, or he would blow us up. Heading back that way to confront the preacher, it was then I noticed a guy cowering by this wrecked car. I completely missed him a moment ago. Well, maybe he can give us some context.
Make him shut up, please. Just make him shut up.
What's this guy's problem?
He's been up there for days. He's got all of those mines wired to a trigger. He won't let anyone in or out of the alley. If I try to leave, he'll set them off. But I can't stay here any longer.
Oh, so it was him. He commits suicide by killing himself and anyone in this alley if we get too close. All right, well, why don't you just go over and see what he's yelling about?
No. No way. He'll set the bombs off if I go anywhere near him.
Good point. Best to leave him alone.
I'd give anything if he'd just stop yelling.
Or we could pass a charisma check to say, oh, come on. He'll listen to reason. Go talk to him.
Oh, well, you look like someone who's pretty smart, so if you say so, I'll give it a try. Okay. Here I go.
And with that, the inevitable happens. Oh, the poor guy. Well, that's one way to clear the alley. And sure enough, it kills the preacher just like it kills our friend here. But hold on, let's play that back. If you look closely, the preacher waves at the guy just as he detonates the bombs. Morbid sense of humor, this guy. Well, that's one solution, but I don't want to kill this guy. So let's see if we can figure out another way to go about this. We know this alleyway comes out the other side, down that other road we saw. It's likely that this road connects to it as well, so if we follow down this road, perhaps we can get to the other side.
The sky will fall, the earth will rise, the stars will shine open their toothy grins and caress the sun with their love.
I began to walk down the road, looking to the left every now and then to try and find some way between these houses, or maybe a staircase to a second floor so we could confront the preacher, when to the right, we see some graffiti. It's a 4-leaf clover with 2 sabers crossing it. And then we see a familiar name, Riley's Rangers. The very same Riley's Rangers who, we know, are trapped at the top of the Statesman Hotel.
To anyone that can receive this, we are in danger and need your help. This is Butcher of Riley's Rangers. Ammunition supply is running out, and we've lost a man. We're pinned on the roof of the Statesman Hotel by super mutants. If assistance is not possible, please attempt to contact Riley, who's made for Underworld inside the Museum of History.
We stumbled upon their radio broadcast in my video on Vernon Square. Well, this must be their headquarters. But we know that they're not home. I wonder what we'll find there. Well, first things first, we'll continue down this road, which ends at a big pile of rubble, and then round the corner to arrive at the other side of the alley to see if we can confront this preacher. All right, well, here we are at the other side. As we move forward, we see that he can't see us very well coming from this direction, so perhaps we can get a bit deeper. We see the playground at the end of the alley that we saw earlier. And then, hiding on the merry-go-round, we find a mini-nuke. Oh, God. This must be one of the explosives that he has rigged up to explode. Oh.
The sky will fall, the earth will rise, the stars will shine open their toothy grins and caress the sun with their love.
I wonder if we can loot them all, which would prevent him from being able to kill us. Sneaking forward ever so cautiously, we find a landmine by the remains of a teeter-totter. Risking it, we can try to creep even closer. We find another frag mine in the middle of the street. Okay, so far so good.
Surround the mulberry bush.
Oh wait! No! Oh, come on! Alright, that wasn't even right. I looted all of the explosives on this side of the alley, but we died anyway. But I really wanted to give it the whole college try before we had to kill him. I went around to the back side of this block. I found a number of ruined houses here. We ultimately do find the one that he's in, but we don't find a ladder, a staircase, a door, or anything that lets us up into there. We can only confront him by going down that alley. Now, I had just specced all those points into stealth. I was sure that I could sneak through undetected. So, heading back to the same spot and trying again, we loot the mini-nuke on the merry-go-round, the frag mine by the ruined seesaw. Then, hugging the wall, we find another mini-nuke directly beneath him, out in the middle of the street, a frag mine, and then 2 more by this slide. If we can just loot these 2... Yes! That's all the explosives in this alley, right? Oh, wait. 1 more mini-nuke. We can get it. Hey, wait, no, I got it.
I'll blow us up.
Bull crap! Bull crap! Right. Homeboy's gonna die. Heading back to the side of the alley that actually gives us a clean shot of the guy, we can end him quickly.
Whoa, whoa! Careful. Good riddance.
All right, fella. You feeling any better?
It's so quiet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, you're welcome. Moving forward. Okay, no big boom. I like it when there's no big boom. We can finally loot all of the explosives here. And sure enough, we've got the 2 mines by the slide, the mini nuke by the shopping cart, the mini nuke by the window, the frag mine by the seesaw, and the mini nuke on the merry-go-round. That is everything. We looted it all the last time, and he still detonated it, so it was a scripted thing. There's no way to avoid the detonation if we're spotted. I suppose if you had something like a Chinese stealth suit or used a stealth boy, you could go through and loot everything without him spotting you, but that wouldn't disarm the alley. If we ever came back without a stealth boy, he could still detonate the alley. Sadly, we don't find a way to get up into that building. No staircase, nothing. So no idea what's on his corpse. But at least the alley is safe. Now, to check out Riley's Rangers headquarters. Who knows, maybe they left a key under the doormat, or one of those sneaky little rocks with a hidden compartment. Moving between the buildings, we find an alleyway that we can pass through to arrive in a ruined complex. As we get closer, we discover the Ranger compound. We see that Riley and her Rangers have decorated the place well with their logo and their name. It's a cozy little complex hedged around with big concrete slabs. But this is a dead end. We can't get around behind the building. We can't get to any of the streets from here. All we can do is explore the building from here. So entering through the main door, we see that most of the building is completely collapsed. There is a staircase off to the right and a door directly in front of us. The door is locked with a very hard lock. This is the first time we've found a very hard lock in our entire exploration of the metro. And the Ranger compound outer terminal is also locked with very hard encryption. It would take a science or lockpicking skill of 100 to pick or hack either of these. There's no way I can get inside. Thankfully, I have already covered what's inside in my video on Riley's Rangers. For if we go to Underworld and rescue Riley, and if we go to the Statesman Hotel and rescue her Rangers, we become a member of her mercenary band, and they admit us into her compound. And from then on, we can loot what we wish. So if you're curious about what's behind this door, check out my video on Riley's Rangers, which I covered here. So we can't get inside, but maybe we'll find something outside. Moving around this broken wall to explore the first floor, we can go all the way around this locked door in the middle of the complex to find a rubble ramp that brings us to the second floor. We completely missed that staircase, didn't need it. From here, we find the second floor ruined off to the west. So moving east towards the staircase, we find a bunch of scrap bridges that connect many of these floating concrete islands. This allows us to reach the staircase that brings us to the third floor. From here, we can pass over a scrap bridge to arrive in a section protected by sandbag barricades. Here we find a number of containers, a couple of desks, a few filing cabinets, and then in one back room, lying on some boards, we find 2 first aid boxes, one of which is locked with an average lock, and 2 ammo boxes, one of which is locked with an average lock. But we're not done, because if we go back east, but then round this wall to the west, we find shelves bedecked with even more boxes of ammunition. One locked with an average lock, but these 2 are unlocked. All right, thank you, Riley. You left this poor wastelander a tidy stash of chems and ammunition. With Riley's compound explored as well as we can head back to the alleyway entrance between these two buildings, follow it west, and return back to the street just outside the preacher's home. Well, with both roads explored and the alleyway fully explored, all we can do now is move back to the road just outside that cornucopia fresh grocery store, which sadly we can't explore, and follow the road south. We see a metro marker sign pointing that way, and sure enough, we find a metro waiting for us. Nearby, we do find a damaged garden gnome in one front garden. More minor scrap, but nothing really of interest. But as we head towards the metro station, we catch the attention of super mutants off to the south. They begin to move, so we can try to get a sneak critical. And some good that did us, jeez. Well, they're running our way now. Let's throw down some mines to greet them. Well, I wasted way too much Chinese assault rifle ammo on that, but we got through. Whew, those were some big mutants with big guns. Before heading to the metro, we can move south down this street. Lots of front gardens at all of these homes we can explore, but there's nothing of interest. The road that goes off to the west is blocked in. Following the road east, we find this blocked in. Really all we can do is move into the Metro Plaza. And as we approach it, we discover Seward Square southeast. But the game calls this metro station Anacostia Crossing. Moving behind the metro station, we find a huge pile of rubble, but our exploration pays off, for amongst the rubble we do find a big abandoned truck. And looking inside the back, oh, he's dead. We find a dead wastelander lying in this chair. A sawed-off shotgun lies on the ground beneath his hand. A whiskey bottle and shot glass lies on the table. We walk away with the impression that this guy took one last shot, and then took one last shot. Lying amongst some ruined shelves, we find a couple of ammunition canisters. Oh, shoot! Run! Ah! Oh, okay. God, did he set up that trap? Suddenly, I don't feel so sorry for him. Jeez. Well, we can finish looting the last ammo canister, and here we finally, at last, find a bed with 2 first aid boxes on the top bunk, which we can loot. One of which is locked with an easy lock, and then resting in the bed to heal up all of our limbs. We can try to explore down the northern road, but it, like all the others, is completely blocked in with rubble. This means we have only one path forward, and that's to head into the metro station. But before we do, we can take a look at the map to get our bearings. All right, so we entered Seward Square from Seward Square Northwest here, and there's only one exit, as we've just discovered Anacostia Crossing here, and this should lead us out of the DC metro system, back out to the Capital Wasteland. If so, well then, to continue, we'll need to backtrack all the way to Pennsylvania Avenue and take either Penn Avenue South or Metro Central to get to the mall, one of the last places we have to explore in the DC Metro. Well, there's nothing for it. Heading down the stairs, we can cross Seward Square off our list by exploring Anacostia Crossing. But before we do, we can bid farewell to Seward Square with a short montage.
My head. Why doesn't it ever stop hurting? Why?
On the other side of the gate, we go down a ramp, pass a metro map to find a bloody trail pointing towards a door to the left. Moving that way. Oh, uh-oh. Just sustained fire. That always works. Well, we didn't alert anyone else. He must have been alone. After looting the body of the raider, we see that we can go further, but I wanted to finish exploring this pathway towards the turnstiles. We can loot a Nuka-Cola machine. We see a ramp going up to the turnstiles. That's different. And then we find yet another door to the left. Heading inside, it's a ticket-taker protectron room. On a desk nearby, we find another metro ticket. We can loot the various containers here and buy the ticket-taker protectron in his protectron charging dock. We find a door going to an office. Well, before we hack this terminal and release this guy, let's explore the office. We find filing cabinets and lockers, a desk, a first aid box on a wall, a fridge filled with food. The far eastern wall leads to a hallway, and here we find, well, it's a labyrinth of office spaces. In a metro? Gosh, this must have been like a employee hub or something. Well, let's hack this guy so he can walk around and do his damage while we are exploring. The terminal is locked with an average lock, so putting on our Vault Tech lab uniform, we can hack it. We again find an option to download the DC Metro map, and then we can run the ticket check routine. As usual, the door slides open, and our Protectron friend walks off to annihilate ghouls and raiders. But we've got a labyrinth to explore, so heading back into the office area, we'll go left. Turning left, we find the door where we killed the raider. Okay, so that's where that would have led to. Our path to the north is blocked. The door is broken and rubble spews out of it. We see the hallway turns east, and we find more doors lining the left or right. Going into the left one first, gosh, it just leads to yet another huge office area filled with cubicles. We can explore each and every one of these, and I did. We make good use of the Scrounger perk, but that's about it. The door in the northern wall leads to a hallway with a blocked-up pathway to the west, a blocked-up door to the north, and it connects to another hallway to the east. Well, back in the room, we can finish looting all of the containers. Against this room's eastern wall, we find a door that leads back out to this hallway. Okay, I'm starting to get a mental picture of how this place is laid out. We can go north or south. Let's go north. I believe this is going to connect to the other hallway we found by opening the last door, and it does. Okay, that makes sense. We can loot the filing cabinets at the end of this hallway, and then turn around to open the bathrooms that we passed. First, we explore the ladies' restroom. We can open all of the stalls, but they're all empty. With nothing else of interest in here, we can then explore the men's restroom. But it's much the same situation. Nothing in the stalls or the urinals. Both bathrooms empty. Back to the hallway, we move south and pass the last large office space with the cubicles that we explored. We find more lockers to the east, and we can continue south to open a door in this western wall where we find an employee break room. We see cutlery and tableware laid out on this countertop, 3 shelves filled with metal boxes with a variety of scrap, but that's it, nothing really of interest. Back to the hallway, we move south, then the hallway wraps around to the west. We find a door already open to the south. This leads to a staircase filled in with rubble. Wow, this was a multi-storied underground metro employee office area. Interesting. But we can't explore the upper floor, and continuing west brings us back to the room with the ticket-taker protectron. So we've done a full loop, we've explored all of the cubicles and this empty but interesting office area. Back out to the station, we can at last move up the ramp to the waiting platform. Heading up, I tried to remain hidden, but it was no good. A raider immediately saw me on the other side of the scrap wall. There's a few of them, and we can shoot at them through the ticket booth.
It's go time.
Got him. Anacostia Crossing is really interesting. Everything about this one so far is unlike the layout and organizational structure of every other metro station we found. The ramp from the entrance goes up, not down, and the waiting platform here takes up a lot more space inside the station than most waiting platforms do. Even the turnstiles are in a weird place. They're usually back down the hallway near to the ramp that leads to the gate leading outside. But here, the turnstiles are actually on the waiting platform. And we see that they weren't moved post-war. No, sandwiched between them is the ticket booth. This is how it was put together and organized before the war. But then we hear a voice. Ah, he's down. Oh, and we passed the wreckage of the protectron. Oh no! We should have been there to protect him. All right, well, we'll go down there and kill the raider in a minute. While we're up here, we can loot the other bodies. We see that the exit is off to the west. All right, at least this station has that familiar. But anyway, back into the ticket booth, we can finish looting. There's buff out, a 10mm pistol, and 10mm rounds on this counter, and a first aid box on the wall next to it. Before going west, to leave the station, we can move north. This waiting platform just goes on and on. There's another big Raider scrap wall here with another metro map and a Raider dining area. Tin cans, empty bottles, Nuka-Cola bottles, Scotch bottles, and chems everywhere. Jet on a concrete bench, a copy of Pugilism Illustrated on a table next to more Jet, Buff Out on a table behind, nothing under the traffic cones, a Nuka-Cola machine against the wall, Mentats by a paint gun on another table, and then Radax by a bowl of squirrel stew. Oh, also there's more Jet that I missed while playing, but I saw again in editing. Taking a look at the sign, we see that this goes northbound to Museum Station? What? That wasn't on the map. Since when does Anacostia Crossing link to Museum Station? Okay, well, we've got to solve this mystery. Heading down the escalator, we arrive at the train platform, and this thing is just completely filled in with rubble, which doesn't make a lot of sense because the waiting platform is mostly intact above us, and the ceiling is mostly intact above us, so I'm not sure where all this rubble came from. Sure enough, turning north, we see that this track goes to Museum Station. Well, let's go south first, see where this goes. Moving that way, we find that other Raider. All right, with the Raider dead, we can peer up to see where this led, but it's rubbed out. Southbound, redacted station. All right, so it's not going to tell us, which probably means that it's blocked up. Well, we can do our due diligence and explore down the tunnel anyway. Moving down the tunnel, we find a passageway to the west. Here we find a little nook to the south, which is filled in with rubble, and a generator room behind a gate, a common sight in these metro tunnels, but no loot or anything interesting there. So back to the track, we can continue to follow it south, where we find a ruined train car and the southern passage blocked in with rubble. Just as I thought, we can't actually take this anywhere. Back to the waiting platform, if we move to the other side to go down the other track, we find that we can't. It's filled in with rail cars and rubble. All right, so from the train platform, we can only go north. Before moving north, we can loot another Nuka-Cola machine against the eastern wall, and then tiptoe through all of this rubble to choose one of the two tunnels leading to Museum Station. Trying the left one first, we see it's filled in with rubble, so we're taking the right. Moving down this track, we see that before the war, it split off to the north and then the east. The northern path is blocked in with rubble and train cars. However, the eastern path is open to us. Moving east, we see a doorway leading to metro access, filled in with rubble. And as we continue east and round a corner... Come on! Wait, where'd she go? Hey, where'd she go? Look! Right, okay, need to put my combat armor back on. I keep forgetting that. After looting the bodies, we can move into the little fenced-off generator area to find a stim pack on a table, and we can rest in a raider bed. All right, we see a fence blocking off the northern track from us. This was blocked in with rubble on the other side, if you recall. But here, we actually see space to move. I wonder if we'll find a way over there. Well, we'll continue east along the tracks, see where this finally leads us. At length, we arrive at another metro access door for employees only. If we try to continue east, we see it's blocked up. Alright, heading up the stairs, this leads to Museum Station. On the other side of the door, we arrive in a small room. There is one door leading out, and the door is off its hinges. Moving through it, we arrive at the tracks, and we see Brotherhood graffiti pointing towards the mall outpost. This is amazing. How is this here? This changes everything. Between these two cars, we find 2 boxes of .308 caliber rounds that we can loot. But, there was one thing I forgot. Oh, wait.
Arrest me! Oh. You can't. No!
Okay, well, we're not going to clear this entire place just yet. There was something we forgot back in Anacostia Station, and that was to see what was up the ramp on the other side of the waiting platform. We'll be coming back here really soon, but first, back to Anacostia Crossing. On the other side of the door, we go back down to the tracks, and we follow them all the way back to the train station, then up the escalator to the waiting platform. We follow it southwest, then up the ramp. Here on the other side, we find another Nuka-Cola machine to loot and more bathrooms to explore. There's a box on the sink in the men's restroom. Inside the box are some Mentats and 2 syringes of Medex. But that's it for the stalls. Back out to the station. We can now move to the women's restroom, but it's really inaccessible. Wow, look at that. We can turn the corner to the south and then head up the ramp to the Capital Wasteland. At last, we navigate all the way through the DC metro system, all the way to the very end, out the southernmost exit to Rivet City. That's right, Anacostia Crossing is that metro station right outside Rivet City. We're at the end of the world essentially here. There's nothing more to see, except for Rivet City, of course, which I already covered in a rather long series on Rivet City that you can watch here. We find a map just in front of the metro station, and we can take a look at it to plot our next move. I said that finding Museum Station changes everything because, well, it changes our plans, really. So here's the map, and we know now that it's wrong. According to the map, the only exit from Seward Square is to Anacostia Crossing, and it's a solid line. There's no connection on the Anacostia Crossing line except its exit outside to Rivet City, where we are now. Contrast this with the Metro Central line, which we see makes several other connections to other lines. We know the Anacostia Crossing station connects to Museum Station. We were just there, but on this map, it doesn't. And looking at the map, we clearly see why. It doesn't really make sense that it would do so. In order for Anacostia Crossing to connect to Museum Station, it would have to go back through Seward Square, cutting across a bunch of other train tracks. We can see why the author of this map decided to kind of leave it out. It would be difficult to convey the fact that this line actually connects back up with Museum Station in a similar way that the Metro Central line connects with Museum Station. But this is going to save us so much time. Having completely explored Seward Square and arriving outside the DC Metro system, we now have but to explore the mall and L'Enfant Plaza, and then we are done. And we can take Museum Station, which conveniently we can access here in Anacostia Crossing, to get to the mall. So that's our next step. But before we go, we can bid farewell to Anacostia Crossing. back inside Anacostia Crossing, we can make our way back to the door we just found that leads to Museum Station. But sadly, I'm gonna have to explore Museum Station in a different episode, because conceptually it's part of the mall, and not Seward Square, so it belongs in that episode. We'll pick up right here where I leave off in my next episode, so if you don't want to miss it, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already, but you still feel like you've been missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes, and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members and patrons on Patreon gain access to a private channel on my Discord server, and YouTube members get little badges that appear next to their names in the comment sections of my videos, and access to Ox emojis that they can use in the comments and in the live chats of my live streams. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.